My wife told me she was riding her motorcycle and couldn't text because she had to slam on the brakes, so I drove to her favorite bar and put my hand on her bike's exhaust, and it was cold. Posted by you/OK Molasses 7486. I, 35M, and my wife, 35F, have been married for 7 years and together for 10. We are both avid motorcyclists and spend quite a bit of time riding, although often separately. She prefers to go out riding late at night on the weekends and for a while got in the habit of not checking in with me. I imagine any husband whose wife is out on a bike at midnight would worry and has every right to ask where she might be. We got into a lot of fights about this, and it seemed very difficult for her to want to keep her whereabouts known. She claimed I was smothering her and being excessively needy by having to know where she was at all the time. We worked through it, but I was never really content with how she begrudgingly followed suit like it was some kind of a chore to keep me posted about where she was and when she might be home. I brought this up in therapy, and even our therapist raised her eyebrow at the late night rides with no check-in. Still, my wife never seemed to see the problem. Fast forward to a few weekends ago. My wife was out riding and it was getting late again. I sent her a message asking if she was getting dinner while she was out. She responded with a simple "Yeah, I'm good, thank you, love you." I was kind of hoping she'd give me a little more detail as it was getting dark out. Some time passed and I responded by saying "Sweet. I'm gonna be home for the night. What you up to?" I didn't get a reply, so I followed up with "I really dislike when you don't care to tell me what you're doing out on a Friday night." Maybe this was a little forward of me, but she knows how frustrated I get in this situation we've dealt with so many times in the past. This made her very upset, and we ended up text arguing. She then gave me a till and said she was going to keep riding her bike. Naturally, I kept texting. After a few messages she responded by saying "I'm trying to drive my dang bike and you are blowing up my phone with this, which is uncalled for. I don't breathe down your neck asking your every move and respect and trust you. Please do the same, it's exhausting." I had a hunch she was not riding. Maybe what I did next was uncalled for, but I drove over to her favorite late night eatery or bar and walked inside. She was sitting at the bar. Her bike was parked outside and I put my hand on the exhaust. It was cold. Less than 10 minutes had passed since she told me she had to slam on the brakes to respond to my messages. There just was no way an exhaust can cool down that quick. Once again, maybe I crossed the line here, but I felt severely betrayed. I went home not long after I sent a quick message that I knew where she was. We argued about this big time. We made amends and she told me that she would be better about checking in with me in the future. That's not the white lie though, but simply a precursor. Up next is the real issue I'm dealing with. This past weekend she was out at a local cafe or bar doing some work. She was being really good about checking in with me, but it kind of festered out as the night progressed. She told me she was going to go over to her office to finish some work, and that was the last I heard of her. I was heading home for the night after a late gym sesh and called her to check in. She did not answer after the first call and called me back a few minutes later. While we were chatting I could hear others in the background. She was also talking kind of weird. After a minute or so she told me she was getting a call and had to pick it up right away. I kind of understood as the importance of that call was something that affected both of us. We are in the process of buying a new home, and the seller's agent was calling. I was expecting a call back with some news, but the call was never returned. An hour had passed, so I called her back to see what she had learned about our offer. She didn't answer but responded with a text, "Call you in a few." When she called back I could tell she was in her car. She started telling me all about what she had learned and how long of a conversation it was. How she also called our lender to check some numbers. It really didn't add up, and I was sensing some plot holes. I asked, "Where were you when I called?" She said, "Well, I'm driving now." "I pulled over to talk to the seller's agent," I said. "If you pulled over to talk to him, why could I hear people in the background when I called you?" She didn't have an answer and I let it slide. It felt so off. When I saw her later that night, I told her I just want her to be able to feel like she can tell me the truth. I was hoping she'd come clean, but it never happened. Now to today. I checked our phone records because I just couldn't shake the events that evening. Not at all to my surprise, she had lied to me. After my call to her there were no other calls. She had pretended someone was calling to get off of the phone with me. When I confronted her, she said she was hanging out with friends and just wanted to enjoy herself, and it was easier to just lie so that she wouldn't have to face my reaction. I was so hurt at this lie. She's not great with apologies and slapped together a "I'm sorry I lied to you." The problem I face is there is always a follow-up. She told me that she feels the need to lie because I'm insecure. I also need to trust her more, and it always feels like I never give her room to breathe. I need to work on myself more and be more confident and trusting. It all seemed like justifying her lie. Like somehow it was my fault. It was not a great conversation and neither one of us was getting any points across. All I know is that I feel betrayed yet again, and I don't know how I can trust her. I also feel terrible that she couldn't simply admit she was wrong and followed up by making it about my insecurities. Am I wrong here? I genuinely don't know what to do. We haven't talked since and I could use some advice. Thank you to all who sat through this one. Edit. A few weeks have passed since I wrote this and I wanted to offer an update for those who requested one. To cut to the chase, we are getting a divorce. Honestly, experiencing this gamut of emotions has been excruciating, to say the least. I wish this on no one. When I was fielding your much needed replies, I was staying at an Airbnb to give us time away from one another. She was livid at first, but she quickly realized the importance of the time away. I myself had plenty of time to reflect on many of the responses here and spent all my free time journaling to work out my thoughts. I returned home after a week and we had our heart-to-heart. Much to my surprise, we both came forward equally with the proposition to separate. Now, I don't believe she was cheating, and I don't think it's a substance dependency. These were suggestions that seemed to percolate to the top of this thread. Perhaps I am naive as well, but at this point it no longer matters. Regardless, what we have is a textbook case of two people who aren't right for one another. We have fought hard to save our marriage over the years, and quite honestly, the feeling of failure is the hardest part to cope with. Beautiful memories of our early time together surface in waves and manifest as tears. Her and I have grieved this loss at different times and in different ways. There will always be the doubt and questioning of could we have made it work? Hopefully the years will reduce that doubt to a whisper. In conclusion, we are both amicable at this phase and hope to continue a friendship into the future. That is, a friendship not carried over from a previous marriage, but one rebuilt from scratch. In some ways, I can sense our relationship already healing and improving. I hope this may be a predictor of the future. I am about to close on my own home soon. There is a subtle undertone of fear in the loneliness ahead, but I can see that quickly becoming eclipsed by the opportunity to rebuild myself. I look forward to the journey and growing and learning to love who I am as an individual. I wish her the best as well. Thank you to everyone whose insight helped me work through such a difficult time. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, put on location track. She just honestly says at the start what she's gonna do and when she'll be back and only text when she deviates from it. That way there's no need to keep communication going, which I understand can be smothering for her, and you know where she is at all times. You both seem to have an issue and both don't listen to each other and fixate on their own. Search for a solution for both issues together as a team, like the one I mentioned perhaps. Ops response, I appreciate this suggestion. I recommended the location tracker previously only when she's out late riding. She did not like the suggestion and it never ended up happening. Commenter 2, I would bet my paycheck she has a boyfriend. I would not buy a new house with your future ex-wife. You are being taken for a ride. Put a GPS tracker on her bike and you will see. You should have walked into the bar and saw what's up. Ops response, so I did actually walk into the bar. She appeared to be sitting there alone. I didn't hang around long though. The thought of a GPS tracker has crossed my mind, but I have never followed through with it. Commenter 3, you are right to feel betrayed. Your wife is repeatedly lying to you. Very likely far more than you are aware. You are quite right not to trust her. She has proven herself untrustworthy. You must also know that there is a considerable chance she is having an affair. The fact that she is not truly apologetic, and trying to make it about you, would be the final nail in the coffin for me. It's hard for us to judge, maybe you are insecure. But at the least, she's given you plenty of good reason for that insecurity. Given the lack of remorse, it is hard to see how trust can ever be rebuilt. Do you have kids? If not, I would be out of there immediately. Ops response, thanks for your insight. No kids. Commenter 4, what does better communication look like to you? How often would you be wanting her to text you while out? Are you looking for firm plans established before she goes out? Constant play-by-plays of what's going on? Just curious what ideal communication would look like here for you. Ops response, honestly, one sincere and complete message of what she is up to would suffice. Hey husband, I'm going to be here with these people. I'll be home around midnight. I'll let you know if anything changes. It never seems to be this direct. Often it is snippets of plans then silence. Then I check in and she gets upset. I think it is coming across as me nickel and diming, but really I am just trying to put together the fragments of information. Does Ops' wife prefer to do things alone and not enjoy spending time with him? What about hobbies? Ops response, I have tried to discuss with her how I feel about her autonomy. She really wants to be left alone to experience the world when it's convenient for her. I have always felt like I'm expected to be available when she's ready to be in a marriage again. She will often tell me to go out and do my own thing. In my opinion, I don't want to do that, nor do I feel that it is a reasonable request. I want a partner that I can be connected with. This desire of mine is often met with me being told that I am clingy and insecure. It's a really tough situation. She prefers to ride alone. When we got into bikes I thought it was something we would share, but it has been the contrary. I have a ton of hobbies. I play music, work out, socialize easily, and am heavily career-oriented. On spending a weekend away with his wife to connect and time together. We just spent a long weekend away in another state and I thought we really connected. This instance was the weekend after. I even brought that up. I asked her if the guy she connected with on our vacation was someone she felt she needed to lie to. Has Ops' wife been like that after they got married? Ops' response, it wasn't like this early in our marriage. We used to be very intertwined and an incredible team. Somewhere along the line she discovered her own success and independence, and it has become a point of contention. I understand the importance of letting her spread her wings, but it has left me feeling more alone and less like I have a partner. Op explains more about his relationship with his wife. Generally, I would not call our relationship strong. Our intimacy and closeness has dwindled over the years. The avoidance has been going on for roughly 2 to 3 years. The late night rides and lack of communication of her whereabouts has been going on about the same. There was a time years ago where I caught on to her having extended conversations with another man via text. He lived in another state and she claimed he was just a friend. These conversations had been going on for months before I found out. It left me broken, and I still harbor a light resentment, admittedly. I likened it to an emotional affair, a claim at which she balks at. I am not satisfied with the intimacy as I do not feel we connect on a deep level as of late. I cannot speak for her. Our major fights tend to revolve around the same topics. I usually am the one to bring up my concerns in hopes to start a forum, but it usually gets turned around as I am overly dissatisfied and can't simply let things be. While her late night rides are a lot of the problem, it's all the same if she's in a car. I'd be open to see if any of this information gives you any further insight. Update, nearly 2 months later. Hello all, I wanted to offer one last update on this saga that is my failed marriage. I will link my initial post in the comments for those who haven't read it. Anyways, we both amicably decided to separate, so I thought. Admittedly, it was a healthy choice for both of us, and from what I just experienced I'm only more confident moving forward and finding my peace. In short, I've always been the consistent income. Her industry is seasonally dependent, and as much as I wanted to just leave, I knew I couldn't just ditch her to figure out survival on her own. Initially, she had suggested we separate but live under the same roof until next May. This would have given her the safety and confidence to push into her busy summer months. Of course, I said heck no. I felt that was a crazy suggestion. For one, there is absolutely no way that wouldn't further poison our already toxic relationship. Second, I really saw the need to break away so that I could heal and rebuild my life which had effectively been decimated. I decided to buy my own house, but I offered to stick around financially until she could earn the funds she needed to start her new life. We had been cordial for the week or so that I finally closed and was settling in. Dare I say becoming friends? My new house was barren and I quite literally celebrated the purchase of a new couch. As a side, you really don't appreciate a comfortable place to sit after a long day of work until all you have is a wooden bar stool and a worn-out rug from your old home. We had continued to show each other little acts of good faith, but after a few days communication went dark. To be expected, I guess? I was loving the serenity of my new home and was beginning to experience a love for myself I haven't felt in years. Honestly, not having to talk with her brought a sense of relief. One item I wanted to be sure was made right was a water heater leak at her house, my old house which I still own. I noticed when I moved out. I called a plumbing company to take care of it as I have a busy work schedule. Admittedly, it breaks my heart to even enter that home and I was just as much avoiding that. Sadly, the plumbers canceled twice and I was getting impatient. I figured I would just handle it. I let her know I would be dropping in and she was more than okay with it. I'm a decent plumber and knew it would be quick work. I arrived on site and diagnosed a pinhole leak. I drained the lines, cut the damaged section and whipped together the repair. Voila! Her trash can was in the garage and naturally I needed a place to toss the wreckage of my plumbing job. When I opened the lid, what do I see? A box of used protection. I was shocked. My heart sank. I had been out of that house barely a week. Still legally married. And here I am fixing her house and offering the financial support she needed to move on. I knew in my gut that I no longer wanted to be a part of this. I needed to be free of this misery. I texted her a photo of the water heater with a good as new. If you wouldn't mind, just keep an eye on it for the next day or so. She eventually texted back a thank you. I told her to call me tomorrow so we could chat. My heart was racing for hours. I had felt some insane lows this past month or so, but this was the absolutely worst. I wasn't ready to talk to her. I needed food. I was spent. Well, she called. She has a real anxiety about call me kind of texts. In a way I knew this, but I genuinely needed the night to sleep and collect myself. Phone rings. Guess we're doing this. I told myself. I started the conversation by letting her know the water heater is good to go, but she may want to have a professional take a look within the year. Followed by, the next part of this conversation will be difficult. I did not directly tell her I knew she was already hooking up with someone new. I only saw my own destruction in making it my business or even thinking of it. All I said was, I know you've moved on, and I know how you've chosen to do so. I then told her I was removing myself from all shared accounts and she will need to figure it out from here. Boy was she livid. What was that term you guys taught me in my first post? Darvo? Yes. Lots of that. Tons of gaslighting followed by name-calling and accusations. She even insulted my character telling me she thought I took pride in being a person of honor and respect. Word? She kept alluding to how she thought we had agreed to being allowed to have our needs met. I didn't say it outright, but I really think she had twisted what an actual need is. How about financial security? How about a soft landing with your husband of 10 years that you claim to want to remain friends with? So why am I writing this? A couple of reasons. For one, it's the end of my tale. This is the worst I will ever feel about this. It's only healing and growing from here. Second, a lot of Redditors believed she was cheating in my last post. I didn't have any reason to believe this. But after how quickly she jumped on some guy immediately after me moving out, maybe y'all weren't far off. Third, kind of to vent I guess. I also had to put down my cat with cancer hours ago. My God, what a day. Either way, I am so glad to leave that toxic mess behind. I want so desperately to believe I am making the right call to cut all ties. But I wonder, did she owe it to me to try and put off her urges until we split finances? I'd be curious to hear others' thoughts. I hope to learn and gain from any and all input. Needless to say, this will be my last post for the foreseeable future. Thank you all for your insight as I have pushed through my story. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, brother, I know it stings right now, but if she's this quick to physically move on from you, then you need to do yourself a favor and emotionally move on. That also means emotionally cutting her off. And cutting her off from everything else, financially, et al. It would also indicate she probably had something already lined up before the divorce, maybe even before possibly. All speculation, but boy is that a quick turnaround time. Figure out the house, figure out the divorce. Only talk to her about those things, and for the divorce do it through your lawyer as much as possible, without charging you. Move on. Ops response, all of this. I spent so many years being gaslit and I feel like I can finally see through it all. I really wish I could just ask if this was someone she has been with or if it was just some kind of fling. The question alone would only cause more suffering, and knowing her it would be an answer that couldn't be trusted anyway. Op needs to get therapy. Therapy is 100% in my future. My reality has been so distorted by this woman. Commenter 2, holy frick. The main takeaway from this is to not let yourself get stomped on repeatedly and know when to speak up. Looks like you finally learned to do that after years of taking it lying down. Op's response, bro, I've been stomped this whole time and was always led to believe I was the one that should be apologizing. I never thought I could be victim of an abusive relationship, but here I am. The feeling of conviction when I told her I was finally standing up for myself. There was nothing she could say. I found the backbone for the man I will become on the other side of this. Has Op been able to find proof regarding his wife's possible infidelity? Op's response, I have tried so hard to find proof but never could. After a while I just started worrying that I was grasping for straws. I may never know, and at this point it would be poison to continue seeking answers. Commenter 3, some people use protection on the toys they use solo. Op's response, this may be true, but she admitted to having already moved on with another man to have her needs met. Op on splitting the properties from the divorce, we agreed to quit claim our respective properties. The house she will be keeping has a ton of equity built up. If our assets get split 50-50, I will end up better than our current arrangement. Op clarifies on the box of protection, alright, let me set this straight. I did not think there would be so much semantics surrounding the box. Evidently it's an important detail that must be brought to light. It was a crushed or folded box with a tied-off used piece of protection dangling out. I did not dig around to count the number of used pieces. Maybe box full of was an overgeneralization. I honestly don't know for sure.